Hello everyone, and welcome to One Control Report Quick Play of Solomon's Program. This is a, I guess like a strategy RPG for Nintendo Switch, you kind of say, but it's a little weird. It doesn't play like a Final Fantasy Tactics or something like that. Instead, it's kind of a, it feels a little more similar to like mobile games in some ways, where it's somewhat hands-off when you're playing the game. I think maybe just the best thing to do is just kind of jump right into it and show you exactly what's going on here. So it's a team-based game. So we have 4 units here, and I can kind of like move them around at their starting position, things like that. And you can see on the left there, we have these like charts on the screen, and I'll probably explain this while we actually go through the gameplay because you can kind of see how they're working in real time. But yeah, so basically you set up a team of monsters and then you take them into a battle. So it's, I should mention this is actually just a demo and not like a full game. This was like a Japanese magazine that I had to get a code from, basically. So you can't like freely download this demo at this point, as far as I know. But yeah, so you basically start out with like a grid here. We can choose our side, and you only see one monster on the other side, but typically they'll spawn minions once the actual battle is started. In this case, I actually don't see any other minions, so it might just be him. I started a new file in this case, so this is fairly early on in the game. But you can see on the left there's like a little yellow dot that's going through this chart that's happening, and all those charts have lines between them. And what you're seeing right now, I'm actually not touching the controls at all. Everything that's happening right now is just automatically happening. So on the far left there, it determines like what type of enemy a character is going to try to interact with. So if you see on the left, there's like the one with the king hat on, and there's the one with like the little spike on their head. And that's the difference between like a minion and a and the boss. So in the case of the one with the crown on, they'll aim for the boss, which right now we only have a boss. And if there's no enemy type that matches the rule set they're about to go to, so in the second column to the right, there's essentially a target command. So that one has like, if something's below 50% HP, it should target that. So in that case, he targeted himself because he's below 50% HP, and then he healed. But then sometimes that target command is just, you know, if something's within 1 square of you, like on that one, go ahead and use this set of commands. I'm gonna skip this for now, and we'll get back to it. And then there's, you know, this game is in Japanese. As far as I know, there's no planned English release of this at the moment. You know, I don't even know when this game is technically coming out. But basically, like, I don't always know what each individual icon is. And in this case, in this battle, again, this is early in the game, I basically did nothing that entire encounter. That does not become possible in the later encounters, for sure. Well, it's not that it becomes not possible to not touch the controller, but you usually have to have some level of input. And when we switch over to my other file, you might be able to see some of the more direct control you have on the encounter. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump right back into another battle so I can keep kind of walking through exactly what's happening mechanically here as we go through. It does feel very mobile game-ish in that like all these encounters are typically pretty short. Sometimes it can last a little longer depending on the you know, the setup, but looks like we just got another boss encounter only, or not boss, but only one king encounter. So basically the second column decides like what they're going to target, and then the column to the right are action columns. So those 2 columns can be movement, attack, buffs, things like that. And so basically the flow you can think of is, what am I targeting, or rather what type of thing will I target, what I will target, and then the 2 actions that come afterwards that decide you know, what you'll actually do now that you've determined a target that you're going to go see. There can be bad setups, so you have the ability to edit some of these logics to some degree, and you can make a bad setup where you just have a character that basically won't do anything. They'll like, you know, try to do something, but there's no enemies within the rule set you've applied, so they just basically stand there and waste a turn until something on the board has changed to give them like an opportunity to approach something. So your minions die, but it's not usually a huge deal. So if you see in the bottom left-hand corner there, well, bottom left-hand corner to the right slightly, we have like a purple bar. It's called the EX meter. And this EX meter has a bunch of different things. So one is, if I use it right now, we'll go ahead and use a special attack. I'm going to skip on it for now. The other thing you can use this EX meter for is reviving downed party members. So in this case, this party member is dead. But I can spend, I think, is it 2 points? Yeah, 2 points to basically revive him and put him on the field again. I could choose where he went, but I accidentally clicked on that one spot again. So a lot of this game, when it comes to what you're doing, is managing that EX bar. You know, determining what characters should use special moves, which characters should be revived, and things like that. You can see in the back I have like a slime that's there. That's technically my king unit, or my, yeah, I guess you could call it king or boss unit or something like that. And if that unit is alone on the field, you know, they'll essentially start or switch to like a different moveset. In the case of this, I'm gonna spawn this guy again real quick. In the case of this slime, he'll actually start moving forward, which is actually bad, because if my king unit dies, then that's the game over state, essentially. But you also kind of need to find like a good king unit that's going to actually do something useful. So early on in this game, when it's the slime basically just sits there until he's in a situation that he needs to do something. Like if something is close enough, he'll try to hit him. Or if there's nothing else on the field, he'll start advancing to try to, you know, finish the attack, basically. I do have some king units on my other file that actually don't move, even if they're the last enemy on the field. But yeah, but you can find different types of units to fit in that role. One of the most valuable, it seems, are ones that have like the ability to increase the EX meter, because then they basically will just sit there and buff the EX meter every turn. Right now, my other file, I just have a lady that like basically increases her power at the moment while she waits. So as you play through the game, you unlock additional AI commands, and you can kind of, you know, swap these things in and out, basically. In the case of this one, I think it's just basically adding to the current grid, but I can go ahead and show you in the deck building screen what that looks like. So if I would go ahead and go to edit, I have like a set of skills down here, or a set of logic that I can apply to the system. So I have this one where it says target either boss or minions, and then, you know, it will go ahead and use this. I think this is the closest enemy to you in distance is who it'll target, and then he'll go ahead and do that. So whether it's a boss or a minion, whoever's closest, he'll move towards it and then he'll attack. But then I can also, you know, place this other logic that says, actually I can't do it right now. One thing I've been a little unclear on is how actually connecting these parts work. I think it has something to do with these lights here. So you can see on this grid, or this ring here, there's like a red light. I think that needs to be blue for me to assign things, but I can tell him basically only target minions, things like that. So I can swap out parts of these basically, but not everything. And then each of these minions can also like level up and stuff. So they get EXP, level up, and in this demo, the maximum level is 10. Sometimes the level up mechanic's a little weird. It'll say that they're able to level up, but they actually don't have the ability to level up right now. I'm not really sure what that means. I think you might be consuming a resource to level up, possibly. I'm not quite sure. I think maybe what it is that if they have the up arrow, maybe they can up. Yeah, see, like, I don't really understand. And now the up arrow's gone. So yeah, I don't know. It's a Japanese game. I can't figure it out. Although I was reading someone's Japanese impression, or a Japanese person playing this game's impressions, and it sounds like it was pretty confusing to them too. So yeah, but you can basically move things around. You can choose whoever you want to be your king. So if I wanted to leave him as my king, he'll stay there. But as you can see, all his movement squares have grayed out. So until everybody's dead, he won't actually move. And because he's one of my stronger characters, I definitely want him able to kind of go up and attack, basically. On this file right now, I only have, I think, these characters. Oh, I do have, like, other units. So I can go ahead and basically, like, swap out some of these characters. So you can have a total of 4 units at once. And the units have different sizes. Like, this guy has 4. My other one, I have someone who, like, takes up, I think, 9 squares. Or maybe it's 6 squares. I don't remember how it is. And you can, put them away and stuff. As far as I can tell, there's no, like, point meters. So as long as you don't go over 4 units, you're fine, as far as I can tell. Is there anything else on the screen you want to show real quick? I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. In this demo, there's kind of a few different options here. One is this screen here, just basically like sending your character out on a mission. I'm not sure. Actually, I might be learning something new here. I think I am. So it looks like you might be able to send out a set of people on this mission, which is not something I've done before. We're learning new techniques here. All right, cool. I did not know you could send an entire party, but when you send that party, it doesn't take them out of your control. So in my other game, I've only had that one guy going by himself, but it doesn't take them out of your control. Oh, I didn't actually send them. And so you don't have to worry about them leaving your group while you send them out to basically do a mission, which is something that always really bothered me about like things like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where you would send somebody out on a mission and then you couldn't actually use them, which is generally fine. There's reasons with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 why that's a problem, but I have a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 review if you want to go see that and why I think it's an issue. But yeah, so you basically go and be like, hey, go to your thing, spend some money, spend 30 gold, and now they're off doing their mission. You can see on the right there, they have like little dots, and I assume those are like little encounters, and it basically does a check to say whether they're successful or fail, and then when they come back, they'll basically have additional EXP and money. As you can see, it's 12 real life hours on that timer. That is a 12, like that is a not playing the game. That just is, you know, as long as you started it, you can go do something else for 12 hours, come back, and, you know, the game didn't have to be running or anything. They'll be done. So, and as you can see, they're still here in my party if I want to use them. So they're off doing that. And then sometimes, and I think we'll see this on the other file, sometimes you just get like a bonus every day of just one of your characters randomly gets a bonus set of EXP. This battle selection here can be either smaller encounters, which we've seen so far, and then also going to be boss encounters with some slight dialogue sections. We'll try one more encounter on this file, see if we get a boss encounter with it. Well, actually, you know what? How about this instead? So in the top left here, we have a daily challenge encounter. This is basically a boss encounter as well. So we'll just go ahead and do that. And if we fail, we fail. So we got this little slime. He's our daily challenge for today. And if we fail, quit, or beat this, we can't do the challenge again until tomorrow. Hopefully this one has more than just one unit on the screen this time. These battles are typically more challenging, but you do, from doing this, get the reward of whoever that main enemy is. It's a bunch of little slimes. Whoever that main enemy is will join your party. Same thing for the boss encounters. When you beat bosses, they'll also join your encounter. I don't think on the normal battles you'll get a chance at just random drops. I thought initially that was the case because one of the first minions you fight, they also give to you. But I think that's just so you can have a party of 4 people from the start of the game, essentially. And so I think just fighting normal enemies won't give you a chance to get a drop of a certain enemy. Apparently my controller's dying, so hopefully it'll last for this quick play. Otherwise I can just go plug it in, just gotta find the cable. But yeah, so like a lot of this, and you see with this logic is a different attack on that, and I don't remember the difference between these 2 attacks. I may have never known. I think that technically might do more damage. So yeah, and so a lot of this game is watching, waiting. Let me see. It looks like early on they kind of limit some of the things you can do. One thing that I can't do in this file right now is the ability to basically like switch logic. So if like, say for example, you know, let's just wait till I get there and explain that at that time. But there are a handful of other things that we can do to kind of influence the battle itself. But again, a lot of this game is just kind of watching, and you'll see it in the other part, but we can also fast forward these segments. But early on in the demo, they kind of gate you out of that stuff. Okay, so he's up there, he's striking, and usually the main goal, we'll use one of our, actually, he's too far to actually use a special. So one of these characters, if they get the chance, we'll use one of the special skills so you can take a look at that. He's going to start advancing, I think. Oh, no, he's just going to keep doing his thing. One problem with this game is I don't think he'll reach him, so I'll just let him do his normal movement right now. One problem with this game is, as you can probably tell so far, when I go into battle, I don't necessarily know who I'm fighting. And here we go, we're going to use our special attack with this one. So this brings up a special logic board at the bottom that has a special attack at the end. and then we're going to go ahead and do our special attack, power attack. And generally, you want to just try to get into the boss and try to use your special attack and wipe him out as quick as possible. That seems to be like the core strategy of this game. At least the most effective strategy I found, because those special attacks are very potent. And he's dead. Rest in peace. But yeah, like I was saying, you don't know what you're going to be fighting and what challenge you're going to be in. So it's a little hard to cater your party to each individual challenge. But as you kind of narrow down the number of enemy types you end up with in the daily challenge, you can more easily, yay! So we got this little guy. You can more easily, cater your party to that particular boss, but there's a chance you'll get a different boss instead, and your daily challenge will be essentially wasted if you need a very specific strategy for that boss, or at least a very specific strategy is called for, essentially. So it looks like so yeah, so as you see, the daily challenge is now gone, and now we just have the option to do normal battles or that. I'm gonna try for a boss encounter here, and if we fail, I'm gonna go ahead and just pop out to the other mission. So we did get a boss encounter, so this is a different screen here. The bosses also will join your party if you defeat them, and they have a little bit of dialogue going on. There's also in this demo certain characters that have certain relationships that will have some dialogue. So if you don't know, this game actually is and you may not know what these arcade games are either. This game, as far as I'm making assumptions here. Let me put that out there first. I'm making assumptions that this game is developed by the same developer who worked on 2 arcade games. One is Otocadoll, and the other one is Otocadoll. And both of them use the same arcade hardware, have very similar aesthetics, and some of the characters are shared between them. So I believe the slime in this game that's in the corner there is from Otocadoll, and that slime also appears in Otocadoll and now has appeared in this game. So I'm using things like that as an assumption that these are the same developers working between these games. So specifically, the reason I found out about this game is Otocadoll, which is something you will, if you haven't been listening to my podcast and you haven't heard about already, or follow me on Twitter, I definitely been talking about a lot. But I'm making a video about that game as well. But that's what caught my eyes, that some of the Otocadoll characters are in this game. You'll see them on my other file, because I have them in my party right now. But when those 2 characters meet, you get a little bit of battle dialogue as well. Being in Japanese and me not understanding Japanese, I don't really get a lot out of that. but it's if it ever gets localized, it seems like there is some kind of light dialogue going on here, and every character seems to have voice acting. So, as far as I can tell, this game just kind of came out of nowhere. I was not aware of it being, announced for any kind of, any announcement of it beforehand. And then it just showed up in Mirakoro's, February issue, which is, a comic book serialization magazine. What's going on here? I'm going to skip that. But yeah, it just showed up in this magazine all of a sudden. And because I follow a lot of Otocadoll fans, I saw them tweeting about the fact that Otocadoll characters were in this game. And then I ended up, thankfully, if you don't know, Rowan from the Gun Gauge and Lost Kingdoms podcast went out of his way to buy me the magazine that had the download code for this in there. So yeah, I mean, getting your hands on this today is not particularly convenient. But my hope is, at some point this will get localized, but who can say? I'm going to guess this very much feels like a game that may not get localized. Something about it, it doesn't help that none of their other games have come over, but those are also arcade card games, which I have very rarely seen any kind of arcade card games come out to the US. So this definitely has a better chance of those games than coming over. so yeah, you get a little battle dialogue there, and then they go ahead and join your party, and you're like, yo, and then you can go ahead and level them up, do what you want to do with them. This demo has a series of boss fights. I didn't defeat all of them, and now that seems like they might be gone. I don't really know what's up with that. There's a particular boss fight that I failed out of a couple times, and I've never seen it again in this demo. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to my other file here, just to kind of show you what the later part of this game looks like. Unfortunately, on this file, I've kind of gone through all the major boss content as far as I can tell. So it's very likely we're going to get easy encounters as well here, but we'll see what's going on. and see what we can do here. So as you can see in the top left corner, once it loads up here, I don't have a daily challenge on this file anymore. And there's the 2 Otocadoll characters, so Pride and Waste. So this is talking about a character that basically has gone out and gotten EXP by himself. Every day you just get some free XP. So, you know, if you log in every day, you get stuff, essentially. It's kind of hard to say, like, what this game's going to look like in the long run in terms of, like, structure, because this is kind of it in the demos. Just on the screen, you have these handful of menus, and that's kind of it. So, as you can see, he failed half of them, but now we have improved knowledge of how this works. But he got quite a bit, actually. So we're going to go into this. We're going to do something brand new, and I'll be curious to see how successful it is. Let's go ahead and plop him there. But yeah, we got a bunch of things. Like, this seems to be the final boss of the demo, is this guy, big old dragon man. So I could send him if I wanted to. See how he does. We'll send Pride as well, and then some 2 smaller units. We'll send that Ghost Girl, and we'll send Slime. Go ahead and roll these guys up while we're here. Okay. All right. So we're gonna send them off on this little adventure here. Oh God, why is he way up there? We'll just send on the. I don't know the difference between these 3. Maybe it's the different type of units they fight. But you get these like silly little voice clips and stuff while they walk around here and stuff. So if you leave this screen up, you'll get to hear them chatter a little bit. I assume it's now that we have multiple, you'll get different voice clips from the different little guys walking around. Before it was always just the spike or the spear guy that I took on those missions. So, all right, so we're gonna go into a mission, just kind of see what we got. So we got a Pride battle. This is a normal battle as well. So I'm gonna guess I'm probably gonna burn through this relatively easily, but we'll see. This Slime is in my party now, apparently, trying to level him up, I guess. And then yeah, so go ahead and start on that. So right now I have this lady as my kind of king character, and kind of the logic behind having her there is she has a ranged attack, and she also has the ability to power herself up. So on her turns off, where she's just like waiting, she basically buffs herself a bunch. I will say there's some performance things with this game. You probably saw there that I got like stuck for a bit. Sometimes it just kind of hitches up. Like I said earlier, we do have the ability to like kind of speed things up, so we can basically like sit here and fast forward everything. And as you can see here, I can also press the A button, and this will basically use some of the EX power I have down there to change some of the logic, so I could switch these parts around. I think in this case, I actually just want to stick with my normal logic because I want to kill this guy here real quick. So we're going to go ahead and do that. The fast forward feature is handy because some of these animations are pretty lengthy, especially since this lady has a animation that plays out every time she buffs herself, and she buffs herself twice a turn if there's no enemies within range. So, and the animation is about as long as these 2 animations here. So it can take a while. So if you're just playing this casually, definitely fast forwarding is like probably the recommended way to play this game. I'm actually not sure how. I think it might pause you. Okay, she's gonna move now because she's the only enemy left, so she's gonna walk up. I think it might pause when we fast forward. Let's try that here real quick, actually. Oh, she's gonna go. Oh, no, she didn't move right. I want to see if it pauses for individual skill stuff when I fast forward. I can't remember if that's what it does or not. As you can see, you know, she's buffing herself, and if you watch the whole animation, it takes a little time. I think it's not pausing, so I think you just have to not be fast forwarding. Yeah, because I got the option to change her logic last turn, and that didn't happen this time. So if you are fast forwarding, just be aware that you're skipping out on certain things. In the bottom right hand corner, there's also these 2 icons here that I can turn on and off. I don't know what they do. So one's a grave and one is EX, so I'm not really sure. And we did it. We won. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to some normal or not normal, but like a pre-recorded gameplay I have of one of the harder fights in the game, because I feel like what I've shown so far is maybe a little too easy to be showing, because I have a file that's both early in the game and another one that's kind of at the very end of the game where I've kind of, you know, made my team what it is. So let's switch over and try to look at some of the other footage I have here. Okay, so this is the actually the time that I beat Waste for the first time. I think her name is Waste. I don't know. The Otocadoll wiki, I question it sometimes, but it matches her name if you read about her character. Let's not get into Otocadoll fanfiction here, or not fanfiction, but the Otocadoll lore here. But yeah, so this is probably one of the harder battles. A lot of this battle really came down to figuring out the proper spacing and the type of logic. This is probably my 4th or 5th encounter with Waste. The biggest problem with her is the same strategy I actually utilize now that I have her in my party. She sits there and powers herself up, and if anybody gets close, she goes ahead and basically annihilates them. So you really have to be specific about your spacing when you're approaching her. And so you need to make sure your characters are funneling in properly. So a big problem I had with this mission is where I started out, my initial 2, heavy hitters, the guy with the spear and then Pride, the angel girl, was they were kind of flipped on the wrong sides. And so they would get caught up on each other all the time because one would be trying to go for the minion and one would be trying to go for the boss. So they couldn't move around each other because they're both so big. So it took a lot of, figuring out what was the proper AI order to make sure I was getting to the boss and not getting stuck. And then also, what was the proper positioning to make sure that when I approached, I actually got a chance to attack. Because you saw that last turn, before I didn't move into her range until I had a chance to attack. What was happened when I put them in the front row on the way up, they wouldn't be capable of getting close to her without her getting the chance to get 2 attacks on them, which was instant death. So that was a big challenge of this fight. The nice thing about the little wizard guy in general, he does have the ability to kind of like do a spread attack as well. But minions, these like smaller 1 square minions, are also very useful for kind of stalling enemies. So I don't think you'll see any of it in this fight, but you basically have the chance to put them up again very quickly usually. I don't know if I decided to do that here. It looks like I did. And they can basically act as a barrier between the minion on the right who has the chance to approach you. I can't remember if that's the case for this one. He might be a stationary one, but if they have a chance to approach you, it will stop them from getting to your king and just going in and killing him basically. So you can see right there, like, that actually was super good movement on Pride's part, because like she was at the side, but then she was like, oh, I'm close enough to the boss to try to target her, but the other guy was in the way, so she couldn't move into the slot where the other lady could have attacked her yet. So like I got really lucky there on that movement. And a lot of this game is just figuring out, what logic is most beneficial in certain situations, what placement of your characters is like good, like for both the beginning of the battle to try to get. And here's a little dialogue sequence we have here because they're characters from the same game, so they get a chance to talk to each other. But it's just really trying to figure out, where's the proper placement, and then once the battle has gone, and and things are starting to flow, when to use your EX attacks, and then also when to, where to put people up, when to revive people, because sometimes you don't want to revive people automatically. Sometimes you want them to be specifically at a certain point in the flow of characters going over to the other side of the screen, because you have everybody approaching at once. That dragon character in particular has the ability to do like a AoE in front of them, and so if it kills everybody at once, that leaves you incredibly vulnerable. So sometimes you want to kind of stagger people out as they move forward. So, but yeah, theoretically, you could just let this game run, and early on you could definitely do that, where you just basically turn it on, start a battle, and it'll go ahead and take care of itself. But in terms of reviving characters, changing the logic, and then choosing when to use EX moves, that is important, and that is something that you do need to keep in mind while you play this game. So I think in a lot of ways you could look at this game early on and be like, hey, this is just too hands off. But as time goes on, it really does become more involving. I think the biggest problem with this game is just the fact that you don't know what you'll be fighting ahead of time. So it makes it a little hard to pre-build your party in a way that that will work for each encounter. Like, you just have to kind of make a general party setup, unless you just kind of have an idea of like what's left in the boss pool of like enemies you can get within the daily challenge, and just kind of build for what you're aware of that exists. But yeah, I would say the presentation of this game is like nice. Like when it comes down to the animation and things like that, like this game doesn't look amazing, but it cares a lot about you know, how it delivers that look. And I think that's also true for Otocadoll and a Otocadoll as well. Is like they aren't technically super impressive, but what they do with those assets are very good. I will say the Otocadoll characters in particular here, they look like they might need a little work done to them. They look kind of like they were imported, but like you can tell, like with the wizard guy, he has kind of like a cel-shaded look to him. But the Otocadoll characters look a little flat, and I don't think they, like, I'd have to go back and look at the footage. I don't think they look that way in their original game. So I wonder if it's just a process of they basically imported the model directly, and some of the effects that would be applied to them, you know, outside of or like within Otocadoll itself, didn't carry over, so they look a little weird. So, but yeah, we're basically just hitting the end of the fight here. That guy is out of range. He doesn't have any movement, so we're good. And we're just gonna finish off Waste here. So yeah, Sullivan's Program's a really cool game. I like it a lot. I played about 5 hours of this demo, which is, you know, pretty crazy. So if you do go out of your way to pay the money to get this demo, I think you'll get your value out of it. I think I paid a little under $10 for somebody for Rowan to buy it for me in Japan off a shelf. You know, how that price is going to change as time goes on. This is of the February issue, so, you know, obviously those will kind of dissipate over time. My hope is eventually they put the demo out for more public consumption. But yeah, I don't know if there's like a release window for this game or anything like that yet. I'm very curious. I will probably end up importing this game, and hope it comes over. But yeah, I've been very impressed because, like, you know, I originally came to this game because it was an Otocadoll thing, but it was you know, I find it very appealing otherwise as well. So anyways, that's gonna do it. Be it. Thanks for coming. OneControlReport.com is the website. Per usual, have a podcast every Monday at 7 a.m. Pacific, or 9 a.m. Pacific time, sorry. And then a stream every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time as well. And then I'm working on a Otocadoll video right now, so please look forward to that in the next like month or two, hopefully. Hopefully closer to a month, but we'll see. So yeah, thanks for coming. I hope you have a great week. Bye.